Hey, it's John Zockley here. I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about visualizations in Windows Media Player. I recently learned that I've been the subject of a brainwashing experiment, and the experiment is anti-Christian, or the brainwashing is anti-Christian, anti-American, and socialist, plus a few other things. But that's the main kind of three-pronged part of it. And I've traced my experience to some screenwriters, a certain screenwriter named Andrew Kevin Walker, and I've also realized that there are some things in common that point to the rock group Soundgarden, which all connects to a business card I got from a guy named Bill Doggett, who was a person who was kind of following me around and acting weird, and a book by John Cacioppo about loneliness, which is the basis of brainwashing. And I think a major part of what they do is they kind of hypnotize you. And what I found is that Windows Media Player has these visualizations, and I thought a long time ago that they're intended to hypnotize. Before I figured out any of these things were going on in my life, and now I see these connections to commonalities with Soundgarden and Kevin Andrew Walker. So I thought maybe we could take a look at a few visualizations in Windows Media Player. And what happens is when you turn on your Windows Media Player, you get a choice of things that you see while your music is playing. And to get to that list, you right-click and go to Visualizations. That's the title of that first menu item that you want to look for. And the first one is Album Art, which is what I have now. That's the cover of the Eagles' Greatest Hits. And then the next one they have is Alchemy, Bars and Waves, and Battery. And what I'll do is I'll go through these things in kind of a chronological order, and we'll talk about them a little bit. And the earliest stuff was called Bars and Waves, and obviously this is what I'm talking about, and this is like the most kind of rudimentary one, and all it is it's based on the LED readout of the sound levels of the different ranges in a song, and this one is somewhat like what you might see in a professional audio room, but it's without it doesn't have any numbers or anything. Obviously, it's all kind of condensed to make it a little artsy, but it's close to what you might see even on some home audio equipment. So let's see what else is in there. Also in Bars and Waves. Next one's called Ocean Mist. And all that is an artsy version of the first one. And then the next one's called Firestorm. Different color. And then the last one is called Scope, which is a different thing, which is kind of another thing you might see in a professional audio room, or maybe you've seen on a ham radio, or even in a hospital. And what was it called? Wave. It was called Wave. It's, pretty self-explanatory. You know what that is. And it all kind of goes along with the music. It's tied directly to the ups and downs of the songs and the levels, etc. Now, I think what happened was some of these artists at Windows got bored with these, and they started doing something a little more fancy. And then you go up from this thing from Bars and Waves, and you see another title called Alchemy, which I'm pointing at right now, and it goes to random. Now, I think before they moved on to the third iteration, Alchemy had a list of choices where you could pick specific ones, but they've reduced this one to random only because they moved on. And it looks something like this, and it's very artsy, I don't think these are so hypnotic at all, actually. Maybe a little bit, but they're kind of somewhat, but not nearly. Oh wow, that's interesting. Isn't it? Never looked at that one. Wow. But not as much as the next iteration. But anyway, you see what I mean. These are like artistic kind of LED readouts that go along with the song. You know, most of you have probably seen them, but some people probably haven't. Now, when they got bored with these, they went on to a next set, and the title of this one is Battery. Okay, and these are the ones that it occurred to me when they got to. I was like, wow, these are so clearly meant to be hypnotic. You know, I just couldn't believe it, and I didn't think much of it because I didn't know what had been going on in my life. But you know, almost all of them turn like this one that you're seeing now. You know, and it's got turning at different levels of concentric circles going in different directions and different speeds. It's all kind of blurry, and then it changes. That's like a negative image, basically, which kind of has a strange effect on your mind. You know, like a negative image of a photograph before you make a print. And this one is called, and I think this is one of, and some are more hypnotic than others, and I think this is one of the very most hypnotic ones potentially. And this one is called I See the Truth. Let's see what else is in here. This one's called Illuminator. Wow. You know, like again, circles moving in different directions. Just kind of went blank there. Looking back. But you know, it has kind of a, I don't know. You might almost say it has kind of a vortex look. I don't know. And then there's like, looks like little electrical waves, kind of jumping around in there. And there's just some strange things going on, and I think it has a lot to do with the speed at which they move. You know, they're not too fast, not too slow. It's kind of a slow to moderate speed. And I don't know enough about hypnotism, despite the fact that I've been hypnotized so many times, to explain exactly how it works. But I'm quite confident that's what they do. Let's look at a different one. Lotus. This one I don't know. Somewhat, not as much as others. This reminds me of that one video game from when I was a kid. I can't remember what it was called. Dance of the Freaky Circles. No, this one maybe not so much. This is real artsy. It's got that cutest thing going on in there. I don't have them all memorized. I know there's one. Sepia Swirl. That one I'm not so sure. I wish I could remember the ones that are real. I should have written it down before I did this one. Letriar Nation. What a strange name. Let's see what that is. Well, I think this one very much so. This is one of the very most hypnotic ones in the bunch. I think. You know, there's a lot going on in there. And I don't know. Almost looks like maybe vortex-like or cyclone-like. You know, I've linked everything to a movie called Event Horizon that was written by this guy Andrew Kevin Walker, and some of the artwork on Soundgarden's albums. You know, and the cover art on one of their albums is described as a jagged cyclone-like design, and there are commonalities with that in Event Horizon as well. And basically the whole point, the whole reason I'm making this video is because, as I said, this movie Event Horizon, which includes quick clips of very disturbing, gory shots that my brother directed me to, it just so happens that these things, which I think are hypnotic, contain a choice called Event Horizon. And this is it. There's not much to it, but to this one, but the fact that there's one called Event Horizon and this movie is called Event Horizon, which I think is associated with anti-Christian brainwashing, I'm sure is no coincidence. And the other coincidence is that Soundgarden's last album before they broke up for a while was called Down on the Upside. And another title that was considered for that album was Coming At Ya. And sure enough, there's a visualization here called Coming At Ya. And there it is. And that one's just super, super kind of mind-blowing if you ask me. So I think probably quite hypnotic. It really kind of draws you in, which is what they want. Where's the other one? Dance the Freakies we looked at that. That's where you looked at. I think this one's probably hypnotic to a degree, maybe not so much. There's one other one that's extremely, and I can't remember what it is. Illuminator we looked at, I see the truth of the flight of everything. Yeah, this one right here. I mean, that's kind of a different version of Bright Sphere. It's got more concentric circles. I mean, I think this might be number one. There's another one with Yin Yang. I'm trying to see if I can remember which one it is. Chemical Nova. Oh, this one. This one's kind of psychedelic. I wouldn't call this one hypnotic very much. It doesn't turn that much. There's a little turning going on there, but there's no circle turning. There's like a thing that looks like a radar line turning around from the center. A radius line spinning around as a helicopter blade would. But there's no circle turning. There has to be like a turning around the perimeter of a circular path, I think, for it to work. Like I've seen on an LG TV, there's like the perimeter of a pink circle that turns while it's booting up. Back to the rear. That's another psychedelic one. The world. Here we go. This is the one. This one right here, I think, is very hypnotic, or can be anyway. If you happen to succumb to it all. And this one kind of has a look, kind of like yin yang. And I think the title of this one is The World. So they think they're really smart, these guys. He's not your enemy. Oh yeah, this is a mind blower right here. It's like a spirograph on LSD, right? So I think that's just about everything. That's this one. Yeah, I would say it is. It looks like you're going through some kind of tunnel, which is again reminiscent of a scene from Event Horizon. So, but anyway, I just wanted to go through these real quick. If you're watching this, you probably just read my blog post about that kind of sums up the most important points about the brainwashing I've been subject to. Bright Sphere, did we look at this one? I don't know if we did. This one, very much so. That's the thing, I think there are about 8 or 10 in here. in the Windows Media Player list. There are about 8 or 10 visualizations that are very, very hypnotic, and I believe are intended. So physiology. Physiology means. So yeah, there you go. If you never looked at it before, now you've got an idea of what I'm talking about, and there's coming at you again, which is just, and by the way, I mentioned that if you didn't notice while I was clicking around in here, the subtitle of this group is battery, and that's a great word to describe the brainwashing method. They throw a lot of, it's a series of things that's constant and varied, which I think is pretty much what a battery is, just one after the other, and they isolate you first, and, they've ruined my life really good. So, anyway, there you have it. Thanks.